please welcome to the stage me. Thank you. All right, Mark's message about having an extra big ego, I took that to heart. And so this is going to follow me everywhere. Appreciate that message. All right, I am happy for the first time ever to give the first ever Todd Talk. You've heard of TED Talks. There's lots of famous TEDs. There's also lots of famous Todds. Todd Bridges, he played Willis on Different Strokes. And that's it. There's no other famous Todds. But that's all going to change. Today, I'm going to be giving the first ever Todd Talk, and it's going to be on strategies for effective leadership. Throughout the next 5 minutes or so, I'm going to give you 11 tips. So please take out your pens and your notepads. Looks like we're all ready to go. All right, so getting started. This is actually a picture of me when I was 5 years old. Pretty bad. Actually, that's not true. This was me when I was 5 years old. You can see I still fit into it. All right, so slightly less bad. Second picture, slightly less bad than the first picture. That actually leads us into really effective Todd tip number one, effective leadership Todd tip number one. So we've all been there where you have to lead into excellence, okay? Maybe you have bad news to deliver to your team. So effective leadership Todd tip number one, bad news to deliver. You start off with some hashtag fake news that's actually worse than what you have to tell them. You tell the team you're just joking. You follow that up with the real news that is just slightly less worse. Then they will better accept the real news because they're happy that the fake news wasn't real. Okay. A little bit more about me. I am actually somewhat addicted to Pepsi, of all things, Pepsi, right? So I actually had my first Pepsi when I was 9 months old. True story. My mom put it in my baba on the 4th of July. There's probably a little drinking going on there by my mom. And I've loved Pepsi ever since then. I've had an average about one a day since at least the age of 12, okay? Now, I Googled this and I did the math. So I currently weigh 195 pounds, and 1 can of Pepsi contains 150 calories. The internet says there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound, which is the equivalent of 23 Pepsis, okay? So I clearly knocked through that in the last year. So if I would have replaced Pepsi with water, I would actually be at my ideal weight of 180 pounds, and this jacket would fit a little bit better. However, if you keep looking at the stats, I've been drinking Pepsi since I was 12. If I stopped drinking Pepsi, I would weigh negative 280 pounds. So not only has Pepsi saved my life, it's also a very good effective leadership lesson. And that's going to lead us into effective Todd tip number 2. Everything in moderation is okay. There's a reason we don't do drug testing at work, right? Okay. This also applies to effective leadership. Once again, only do this in moderation. Backing up a little bit, my personal leadership journey at Farm Credit. So about 7 years ago, Mark Jensen gave me my first leadership role. So I reported to Mark for a little bit, and I was super happy. I was pumped. I was waiting to work with someone that was just empathetic and energetic and just awe-inspiring. None of that happened. So it was tough. It was tough, but I was still happy to be a leader. And I came to work every day that first year, and I did not practice moderation. I was effective every single day. And that first year I got the Voices survey. It wasn't good. So employees said, he might be a witch. Maybe he's a sorcerer. Someone said I was a robot. So I learned early on that when you effectively lead, sometimes you keep people on their toes, and you avoid complacency of excellence, which is still complacency, which is a bad word. All right, As leaders, we often are taught, how can we recruit and retain young professionals? It's a challenge we all face. We've been working effectively with the ELF team. I'm happy to announce this is following Todd tip number 3. So create, use tools and applications to make yourself seem cool or relatable to younger employees. So we're happy with Team Mojo and App Dev. We're going to be unveiling the Financial Officer Tinder app. Okay. So the way this will work, so everyone's used Tinder. Raise your hand if you use Tinder. Damn. I thought I could get one. I thought I'd get one person to raise their hand. So anyway. So maybe you've heard about Tinder then. So the way it works, you've got a couple financial officers, you're a customer. Let's say you're not interested in Kevin, you swipe left, then you're gonna swipe right for Mark, and then you have a match. And as it says there, it's really small, it says, you and Mark have liked each other, so let's get a line of credit. All right. How else can we work effectively with our YPs? We can appeal to younger generations by using things like Snapchat. So we hear all the time there's not enough methods of communication. There's only like 7 or 8 to communicate to our employees. We need a couple more. Okay. So what we're going to be doing from now on is any team talk, any video, we're actually going to be using Snapchat filters. Okay, so let's use this in action here.
Holiday season, I hope it's filled with family and friends and a lot of
blessings. Small blessings, big blessings, and all the blessings in between.
Is peace and joy with those you love.
It really is an extremely special time of year. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you and your families a very happy
Hey everyone, just want to sign off by saying happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I hope you have just a blessed time.
Whisper Challenge. It's just an exhibition of basically what we do at our regular
Hey
meetings.
everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. I know I always enjoy having a little bit of fun at my ELT teammates' expense.
All right. So look for that as our new method of communication coming out next week. Okay. As a leader, you're often faced with projects, am I right? Sometimes the projects are small, sometimes they're big. Sometimes, if it's a smaller project, you need to know when to go it alone. So, if you believe that you're working on a project and it's small enough that you can handle it yourself, you want to make sure that you get 100% of the recognition. This is when you need to go it alone. And I've actually got Todd tip number 5. It's actually from my grandma. So, her quote is, sometimes there's no need to crowd the raft, even when there's room on the raft. So this is a picture of my grandma. So when she was younger, she was actually in a boat accident. And there was plenty of room on the raft, but she was like, I'm good. And she just kind of dropped him, let him go. So what about when there's big projects? We're faced with that issue as well. So we've all heard the phrase, how do you eat the elephant? Wrong. You should not eat elephants because they are endangered. They're too large to store in climate-controlled environments, and they taste horrible. What about following up your words with action items? So put your money. That is also incorrect. We don't want to do that. The reasons are pretty obvious, but you may accidentally eat or choke on your money. Money's dirty. It actually contains trace amounts of fecal matter, if you knew that. You're likely going to get norovirus or maybe even something worse. So keep that in mind. How about following what you love? We're all told to do that all the time. I know me personally, so I grew up in the middle of Iowa. Big Hawkeyes fan. Go Hawks! Yes. All right. So when you follow what you love, you're not going to notice when things are going truly horrible, okay? So I know, for me especially, for Christmas this last year, my wife surprised me with a gift. I love it. I watch it every day. So basically what it is a greatest moments in Iowa Hawkeyes football history. It's only 39 seconds long. So I can watch this every single day before I go to work. It's got that one punt, the time they ran that guy out of bounds. It was awesome. So she also got me a shirt to go with it. So it's a Iowa Hawkeyes shirt, and it celebrates all of their national titles. So this is that picture. That's me wearing that shirt. Wear it all the time. So this leads to Todd tip number 8. Celebrate your successes even when you don't have any. This is the Hawkeye principle, essentially. Couple quick ones here, just to wrap us up. My time is almost out here. So miscellaneous Todd tips. Use PowerPoint transitions, animations, things like that. Really just makes you seem smart, makes you seem like you know what you're doing, keeps the audience engaged. When you're working on a project like this, maybe it doesn't go very well, just make sure to thank people that actually didn't help you, just to kind of share the blame a little bit. So Lynn helped me on this one, Mike as well, so appreciate that. Thank you very much. The last thing I'm going to leave you with, this is the most important Todd tip that you can get, okay? And it's about setting the bar for others, okay? So in all seriousness, it's often heard you need to set a high bar for your employees. But what about when you need to set a low bar? So oftentimes it's not clear when you hit rock bottom. You're always like, is this the worst it's going to get? And you actually don't know. So employees, they need that clarity from their leader. So Todd tip number 11, effective leaders will lead their teams to a very low point to make it obvious when the low bar happens. So if you don't bottom out, how are you going to know when it's time to get better? Okay. Now, in all seriousness, tomorrow I'm super excited. We have upcoming Ignite Talks. So we've got 3 employees that are going to be joining us tomorrow, and I have set the bar super, super low for them so that they can easily jump over that bar tomorrow. So we'll learn more about that tomorrow morning. At this time, I would like to welcome our executive leadership team. They're going to come up here. They're going to talk about my ideas, and we'll elaborate on those just a little bit more. So please give a round of applause for ELT.